Hi there, welcome back to the Ginescast. I'm your host, Gina.annunziato. Thank you so much for joining me. So there are some very positive things happening in my personal work life, which I'm very excited about, but no worries because this podcast is not slowing down anytime soon. I know I keep touting that I would like to start collabs, and I still do. I just have to kind of find my chutzpah in order to ask people to come on the show with me. But everything in its own time, I guess, and that leads me into this latest episode of the Ginescast. Please sit back and enjoy number 8, Trust Your Plan. "2018 is more than halfway over. It's hard to believe, but it's true. And I hope you had a very nice first half of it. Because it's time to buckle up and really jump headfirst into what 2018 has in store for us. And it's a lot. And I think a lot of it is going to be sad, confusing, tiresome, aggravating, unbelievably frustrating, etc., etc. But that's all surface level nonsense. What we'll also find is goodness, the crushing of evil, the smiting of all the bullshit, love, kindness, respect, humility, humanity, decency, civility, all the good that this world holds. We will see it. We just have to want to see it. Like I've said millions of times before, 2018 is the year of accountability. What once worked in the past will no longer work. People are getting away with less and less. We're still flinging things at the wall to see if they stick, but we're finding the objects we throw have less and less adherence. 2017, in my opinion, was the year of honesty. You may have heard me say this multiple times. It was as if something in the fabric of the universe was just ripped open. People's honest and true intentions came to the surface, and in my opinion, I think the bad far outweighed the good in some aspects. We saw people being their most raw, their most annoying, their most vile, and it seemed impossible to handle. And yet, we still see that surge happening to this very day. However, we're so over all of that by now that these provocateurs who go out of their way to get likes and retweets on Twitter, they're finding that more and more people are pushing back at the things that they spout versus blindly agreeing with them. We've sort of sutured the wound now, and we're kind of waiting for it to heal. We're on the path to healing, which is what I'm predicting for 2019, but we can only do that if we let things unfold as they should. Living in an instant gratification age like this, not only do we get good things delivered to us right away, we're doing this fascinating thing where we believe the worst of the worst is going to happen almost immediately. Take, for example, when Justice Anthony Kennedy announced his retirement. Someone like Michael Ian Black actually told his Twitter followers to, quote, stock up on abortions, because apparently Roe versus Wade will evaporate as the morning sunrise passes over the horizon. And while we're at it, no gay person will have any rights anymore because my feelings tells me so. And also, let's just get rid of that pesky Brown versus Board of Education because I feel like it's going to disappear. That's what will happen because I totally believe the worst possible scenario is the only one that will happen. But let me just throw this out there, and please stop me if I'm being offensive. But what if it doesn't happen? What if you're riling yourself up for absolutely no other reason other than you think history has to repeat itself? And I do think that in some respects history does repeat itself, but the outcome never has to be the same. There's all these neurons firing in our brain constantly, and we don't seem to acknowledge the ones that tell us that everything is going to be okay. Trust is a very hard thing to come by these days, especially when you feel like you've been knocked down by pretty much everybody in your world. It really feels like sometimes there's just no one you can trust and that everyone is working against you. And I get this feeling a lot, and I feel like I'm just sitting in a crowded room screaming at the top of my lungs and nobody gives a shit. It's a terrible feeling. But we all go through it. It's something that needs to be bypassed. It's something that will be weathered. It's not something that has to sit with us all the time. And I do believe that there is one constant that is always on your side. And it'll be on your side the more you place goodness into the world. And that is the universe. There's some kind of force out there that keeps driving us forward, not letting us slow down, letting us be the people we're meant to be, letting us shed another layer so we learn more about ourselves. Something that allows us to put our shoes on in the morning and take the day on no matter how groggy or irritated or bogged down we may be by our own thoughts. I have to believe this, because once you lay your head on the pillow at night, you've got no one else but your own self. You wake up with yourself, you fall asleep with yourself. It's the one time you're completely solitary. Your own thoughts help you drift off to sleep. It's just you and the universe. And even though it's very hard to grasp sometimes, a plan has been set in motion for you, for everyone, for every occurrence on this earth. And the best thing that we can do for ourselves is to just let go and enjoy the ride. Now that is obviously easier said than done. Basically, anything is always easier said than done because, as you may know, or as you may have experienced, bad things tend to pop up from time to time. And the extent of what's considered, quote, bad differs from person to person. I understand I'm speaking from a very advantaged point of view, and I know that not everybody thinks like me, but I do believe it's possible to see the good for yourself as much as any eternal optimist does. We all have problems, we all have issues, we all have things that we can't work out, we can't figure out, and we sit there with ourselves wondering why we can't move past things. Some people have physical ailments, some people have mental ailments, some people have circumstantial ailments that is not fixed with the snap of a finger or a different kind of attitude towards it. Things take time to be fixed, of course they do. And I can't sit here and tell you that my problems are worse than yours or that you can tell me yours are worse than mine, because I don't know. We all handle things differently. I'm not trying to minimize anybody's experiences. I'm always here to listen to what you have to tell me, and I appreciate your feelings as valid. This just goes back to what I've said in previous casts, that you just can't know what's going on in another person's mind. And my mom always told me a kind of anecdote or a parable, if you will, that if someone had the ability to manifest your problems into a kind of physical form, like a little cube or something, and everybody in the world threw their problem cubes into just a big pile, and the rule was you're allowed to go in and search for anybody else's problems that you can have, and they become yours, and, you know, everybody walks away, quote-unquote, happy. If you had the ability to choose your problems over another person's, you'd walk away with your own every time. Even those who have the nicest and shiniest exterior, they can be suffering wildly beneath the surface. You just don't know. There is a huge shift going on, though, and it's not going to be easy to see or to be patient for. Something that even me, a Taurus, has to learn how to be sometimes. But I promise you this, that change is there only if you look for it. We all have something in store for us, And the hope is that the more good you put out into the world, the more your desires will manifest themselves. I know it sounds trite and cliche, but you've got to be the change that you want to see in the world. Good begets good, just as evil begets evil. So why use your magic powers for evil when the universe has a good plan laid out for you? Trust the plan. Please don't fret. Things are unfolding as they should be, and I will never stop believing that. I really don't mean to sound all hokey and new agey and weird about things, but these are things that I actually believe. I have to believe it. I have to believe in the good in the world, and that the thought that there's some greater force at play here. I can't imagine that we're just here, we exist, and then we're dead, and then nothing matters. I can't believe that. There's something that we're here for, something that put us here for us to experience, and I don't know what that is. There's gotta be a reason as to why we continue to push forward when all hope seems lost. And I haven't quite figured it out yet. And who knows if I ever will. However, I think being on this journey together is enough. And I think finding people who will listen and who you want to listen to is really at least the start of what it's all about. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ginescast. We've got a lot of good things on the way, and I'm just going to continue to create this content for you, and I hope you really enjoy it. The Ginescast comes out every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, if you like this video, please make sure to give it a like, leave your feedback below, share it with someone that you think would like it, or subscribe to my channel too. If you want more from me, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, WordPress, and Twitch at HelloGines, or shoot me an email at gina.annunziato@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ginescast. Have a happy 4th of July, and I will see you next time. Take care.